Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. BRI will politically stabilize Africa, says Andrew Koribiko. Algeria and Sudan recently experienced sudden changes of government following widespread protests that were mostly motivated by economic factors, causing some to remark that the 2011 Arab Spring might be returning to the region. The cycle is doomed to repeat itself indefinitely unless African countries finally implement a sustainable developmental solution that properly satisfies the needs of their population. And according to Andrew, the Chinese proposed Belt and Road Initiative is the answer that Africans are looking for. I wrote about the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. That link is on the website. Asia Times, Pepe Escobar, it's easy to forget that BRI, a massive connectivity project, both geostrategic and geoeconomic, now in effect all across the Eurasian landmass, as well as straddling the South China Sea, plus the Indian Ocean, all the way to East Africa. President Museveni, while still the most popular candidate with backing of 32% of 2,042 Ugandans polled by the Research World International, but he's only 10 points behind him is Bobby Wine, an Afrobeats musician and lawmaker. Besigye has 13%, 20% are undecided. Museveni is increasingly in a panic. Zambia debt, unpaid salaries, and a poor harvest have sown the seeds of crisis. Saying that the result 3 years into his term and 2 years before the next general election is a dawning awareness of the scale of the country's debt, likely in the region of $10 billion, much of which is due for repayment shortly after the 2021 elections. Showpiece projects which Lungu has staked his future on cannot be cancelled, but there is not enough money in the country's budget to pay the salaries of medical, military, and educational personnel or other public servants. International assistance is unlikely. In short, without mentioning Zambia by name, they seem to indicate that a country like Zambia would face huge complications in restructuring its debt. And the barely veiled hint was that the IMF and the World Bank would take a hard line in any negotiations towards such restructuring. The seeds of crisis have been sown, according to one IMF spokesman. The key to South Africa's vote is the margin of victory. A resounding ANC victory would trigger a rally in South African assets, Colin Coleman, head of the Sub-Saharan African desk at Goldman Sachs, said. Were the ANC to reach the 60% mark, then the market will be very bullish. Worst case scenario, ANC's majority falls below 55%, and the Economic Freedom Fighters wins more than 12% of the vote. Take you back to Ramaphosa quoting Ben Okri, "We dream of a new politics that will renew the world under their weary, suspicious gaze. There's always a new way, a better way that's not been tried before." South African all shares doing well this year. It's up 12.51% so far this year. Dollar versus Rand, as I said, we're testing the upper bound at 14.48. It doesn't look that great. Egyptian pound 17.1481. Egyptian EGX 30 up 11.32% year to date. Nigerian all share down 7.06% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange down 7.39% year to date. This is a great photograph of the Conakry sunset from Joe Bavier. Occidental Petroleum agrees to sell off African assets of Anadarko, including the Mozambique LNG project, to the French oil giant Total for $8.8 billion if it secures a deal to buy Anadarko. So that should be an interesting development. Then, an interesting story, Diamond reshapes Africa ambitions, a Kenyan bank benefits, talking about Atlas Mara and the sale to Equity Bank.